playmates. Hello, Naturalicious Nation. It is that time of the week. It is time for Real Hair Revelations. We should come up with a jingle for Real Hair Revelations. For real. I think that would be really fun. But I'm going to wait till some of you get into the room. But I am always so happy to see you guys and talk to you. This week's topic is going to be a little bit different. We're not going to talk about hair care specifically, but we are going to talk about the hair care products that affect you and how it affects your wallet. And I think this topic is going to be really interesting and fun because I think that you guys know my whole thing is to teach you the why of what you're doing with your hair, right? It's not just enough to say, hey, make sure that you don't use sulfates, right? It's like, here's why you don't want to use sulfates. Because when you know the why behind things, you can make smarter decisions overall for your hair, your health, your beauty, your family, your body, everything, right? So really excited to talk to you guys about this. Do me a favor, make sure you're sharing this live. Share. Again, you cannot share enough. So click that share button and share this with everyone because this is a topic that, I see this all over the internet. I see it on every brand's content. I see somebody saying, why is black hair products so expensive? And no one's ever answered that question. And so I am here to answer that question for you and really let you know the economics behind why this is, okay? So let you know. So hey everybody, before I get started, let me welcome all my OGs. If you're an OG, represent your set and let people know who you are. Let them know you've been in this thing for a minute. Love my OGs. If you are a newbie, say what's up, say hi. Let us know who you are. Let us welcome you into our Naturalicious world. For those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Gwen. I am the CEO and founder of Naturalicious. Naturalicious is an award-winning beauty brand that is dedicated to eliminating the time, frustration, and expense that you have when it comes to your hair. We do that in a variety of ways. One of the ways is our product line, which you can find on our website at naturalicious.net. You can also find it in Whole Foods, Sally Beauty across the country, as well as Ulta.com. I am the first African-American woman to own a patent on a natural hair care product, and I have been doing Real Hair Revelations for about 2 years now, which is crazy to think that we've been doing RHR for 2 years. And I love my Thursdays because it gives me a chance to really connect with all of you in the Naturalicious Nation, but it also gives me the opportunity to educate, which is one of my most favorite things to do. And dispel a lot of myths. A lot of people are all over the internet trying to find what is the right information, what's the wrong information, what should they believe, what should they not believe. And most people are giving expert information and they're not hair care experts. They're basically telling you what works for them. And what works for them, what works for someone does not make them an expert. That doesn't mean it works for them. They are not necessarily hair care experts. And so I don't think they mean any harm, but they are also providing information that is oftentimes misleading. A lot of times it's just flat out wrong. And a lot of times it's incomplete. So part of it is right, but part of it is wrong. And so they don't even know themselves if it's right or wrong. They just say what works for them. So I'm here to be that source for you to make sure that you have the right go-to place when you have these hair questions. So tonight's topic is going to be, why do black hair care products cost so much? Before we get started on that though, I must let you know about the dope deal that we have today. Oh my goodness. The Naturalicious Nation came through and completely cleaned us out. It's crazy. We are sold out of almost all of our stuff except for like a few items. If you've been on the website, you probably have noticed like almost everything says sold out. It's absolutely nuts. So we're sold out of t-shirt towels. Y'all came through and cleaned those t-shirt towels out. We had t-shirt towels literally for a month and they were gone again. They were gone. It's crazy. Step 2s are sold out. Hello Gorgeous kits are sold out. You Grow Girl bundles are sold out. Like everything's sold out. We do, however, have gel, which is one of our new best-selling products. We also have the hair mist, we have the Spanish almond regrowth oil, and we have a number of other items that are still in stock. With that said, I was thinking to myself today, and I said, you know what, self? People are buying this gel like crazy. Literally, the nation came through and bought like 2,000 jars in like 7 days. And I was like, you know what? let's hook them up. Because y'all been talking about it in the nation. Y'all like, nothing's in stock. I can't get my step 2. What am I supposed to do? So here's what I'm going to do for you today. You can get 5 jars of the gel. You're going to buy 3, and I'm going to give you 2 of those for free. Buy 3, you're going to get 2 for free, which basically means you're going to get $66 off, which is insane. Absolutely insane. Buy 3, get 2 free. Yes, you can use Afterpay because that's your business if you choose to do so. All right. You can break your payment up into 4 interest-free installments, bi-weekly installments, and it will not cost you a dime more. There is no credit check whatsoever. None of that is simply a payment plan. So instead of paying $165, you're going to pay $99 because you're going to get $66 off because you're going to get those 2 jars for free, and you get free shipping on that, which is insane as well. So we're covering your shipping, and you can break that payment up into 4 payments, which means that today you would pay $24.75, and then your order would ship out next week, early next week, maybe even tomorrow. It would ship out within a couple days, and then you will proceed to pay another $24.75 in 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, you'll pay another $24.75, and then finally 4 weeks after that, you'll pay another $24.75 for a total of your stuff. So again, you're going to get $66 off today. If you buy 3 gels, you will get 2 free. How do you do this? All you got to do is add all 5 gels to your cart. Use code DRAMATIC at checkout. The code is DRAMATIC. And when you do that, your 2 gels will automatically be discounted to 0. All right. So those of you who are Dramatic Definition gel fans, buy 3, get 2 free. Okay. All right. Yes, Erica, you are going to have so much gel, you are not going to know what to do. All right. So let's get into why black hair products cost so much. All right. So again, I really wanted to tackle this topic because I know that it is kind of like the elephant in the room. No matter what brand it is, this is black hair products all together, right? This is, again, RHR is always brand agnostic. So this is not about Naturalicious. This is about black hair products, period. Okay. There's a few reasons why black hair products tend to cost more. One of the reasons is quality. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I feel like when brands say, oh, we cost more because our quality is higher, that goes over a lot of people's heads. They're just like, they don't really understand really what, I mean, it sounds good. It sounds good on paper, right? But it doesn't really mean a lot because you're like, well, I can buy this product over here and I'm pretty sure it's high quality and it's like 3 times less. So why is yours so much more? Okay, here's a few things. First of all, let's talk about economics, right? There are brands like Procter & Gamble, Unilever, Suave, those sorts of companies, right? Now think about this. The whole natural hair sort of like wave came about maybe about 10 years ago or so, around there, 10, 11, 12 years ago, right? That's when it kind of started, the wave started happening, people started bubbling, talking about going natural, and all of a sudden, everybody's natural, right? By the way, if you haven't shared this live yet, make sure you share it. We want everyone to get this info because everybody needs to know this because everybody got the same question, right? All right, so at that time, prior to that, really the best you could do was find products like Carol's Daughter. They were kind of the one go-to brand that you could find that was made for us and by us, and it was everywhere, right? And it wasn't even everywhere. It was like, just it happens to be in more places than most. So Carol's Daughter was around. And when you are a small brand, like Carol's Daughter was at the time, and like a lot of these other brands that started bubbling up, you do not benefit from what's called economies of scale, right? So from the economics of it, economies of scale is basically when you're able to buy, let's say, 1 million pounds of one product because you have the funding and money to do so, versus a smaller brand who can only maybe buy 100, right? So your cost is always going to be more because you're not buying as much. So these smaller brands were coming along and they were making stuff in their kitchen and they were doing their thing. And their price was their price because they were actually using really, really amazing ingredients. Those amazing ingredients cost more money, right? So if you remember back in the day, Carol's Daughter, they used to have these like like hibiscus leaves that would be at the bottom of all their bottles. This is like way back in the day. These hibiscus leaves that would be at the bottom, and it was like just full of all sorts of really good stuff. A lot of other brands were the same. They were making them in their kitchen. They were selling them at the flea markets, and people were buying them. They had these really super high quality yet expensive ingredients. Then you had other products like Garnier Fructis and that kind of stuff that really wasn't made for our hair, but people were using it because it was kind of cheap. And it didn't work so well, but it was cheap, right? And so those brands were sold in huge retail stores. And so what was happening was that those big brands like Garnier Fructis, which is owned by L'Oreal, was able to benefit from what's called economies of scale. However, with economies of scale, they really weren't that interested in the health and the growth of your hair. They're more interested in selling you a product that on the marketing side worked really well. Hey Tisha, that worked really well. I'm sorry, that sounded really good, but maybe was subpar when it came to ingredients. However, these other brands over here were selling really high quality ingredients that cost more, but were not as available on the market, right? Is everybody following me so far? All right. So fast forward a few years and you've got a ton of brands all in the marketplace trying to sell their products. You've got black brands who are black owned. Now, mind you, there's a lot of black brands that are not black owned, right? So they market to African Americans, they market to people of color and women with naturally curly hair, but they are not actually black owned. One of them is As I Am. And I'm not, I have no shade to these people. I'm just telling that this is what it is, right? As I Am they kind of position themselves as black owned, but they're not black owned. And there's a lot of them that aren't black owned that kind of position themselves as if they are black owned. And the black owned products, they were still including these really super high quality ingredients, right? So when you see, let me kind of back up a little bit. Have you ever noticed, like, when you get a product and it works really great for your hair, right? It's like, it's amazing. You're like, oh my goodness, this is like fantastic. My hair's doing all kinds of things it never did before. And then some time goes on, that brand starts to get bigger and more well-known. And it seems like the ingredients have changed. Like the quality isn't the same. It doesn't work so well in your hair anymore. Like, what's going on, right? Have you ever experienced that? I know you have. Because I know when I was little, my mother used to always complain. She used to always say, every time I find a product that I like, eventually they blow up and their products don't work so well anymore. Why is that? What's happening is that as brands get bigger, they start to have to be in more places, right? You start to find brands, suddenly they were at their house, in their kitchen, you had to buy it online. Now all of a sudden they're in Target. Now they're in Rite Aid. They're in CVS. They're in all these different places, right? And so what happens when that occurs is that the retail stores, they are not paying. Yes, they change the ingredients, absolutely. But they never change them for the better. They change them for the worse because they're buying and using less quality ingredients. And that is so they can get their price down. No brand is ever going to, like intentionally go out of business, right? So they are in the business of making money. If they start to include really high quality ingredients, but then when they start to get in these huge retail stores and the retailers tell them I'm early? I'm not early. It's 8:30, girl. Right? Wait, am I early? Let me know. I might be early. If I am early, I apologize. It's been a long day, so my time might be off. In any case, when they start to get in these large retail stores, no, Naturalicious will never change. When they start getting to these large retail stores, what happens is that the retailers want to buy their product for 50 to 60% less than what you as a consumer pays. Oh, I am early. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, you guys. I started early. I am so sorry. Y'all, it has been such a long day. My bad. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, I feel so horrible. But I gotta keep going now because I already started. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'll try to make it last past 8:30 so anybody who was looking for me at 8:30 will be like, they'll be able to join. So I'm sorry. Okay. Crazy. All right. Anyway, so here's an example. So let's say you buy a product for let's make it real easy. $10, right? A retail store is going to want to buy that same product for at least $5 or at most $5. They may want to buy it for $4, right? But at most, they're going to pay $5 for it. So half of what you pay, right? That means that the brand has to make that product for less than $5, because if they make it for $5 and sell it to the store for $5, they're not making any money. And you got to make money, right? The way that you make money in retail is through volume. So you have to sell more to make the same amount. You literally have to sell at least double to make the same amount that you would make selling direct to consumer, which is why a lot of brands now are moving to a direct to consumer model. Like you see a lot of startups like Warby Parker and Away and all these like brands that would typically be found in retail stores. They're now being direct to consumer because the margins are higher, right? And the way that you're able to grow your business is by having more margin. So the more margin you have between what you pay and what the customer pays, the more you're able to use for marketing, the more money you have available to use for new product development, the more money you have to be able to hire more people to help your team and your business grow. So the goal is always to have a healthy, comfortable level of profit so you can grow these things. Well, when you get into retail, if you are not careful, the retailers can suck you dry. There's a lot of, and no shade to my retailers, I love my retailers, but we also have an agreement that we're going to sell for a certain amount to them, right? And what happens with a lot of these black brands is that they get so excited to be in the same stores as these other brands. So they're like, oh, now we're on the shelf with Head and Shoulders. Oh, now we're on the shelf with, Shea Moisture. Oh, now we're on the shelf with all these other people. And they get really excited and they don't always think about the economics behind it, right? So again, you buy the product for $10, the retailer is going to buy it for at least $5, which means the brand has to make it for at least $2.50 to make some sort of profit. Ideally, they need to make it for less so they can make a healthy profit, right? So then you get into things called distributors. Distributors want to buy the product for half of what the retailers buy. Okay, so this is where you start to see the brands. I will, Alice, thank you. This is where you start to see the brand's quality and effectiveness of their products start to lower because now they start dealing with distributors and the distributors start to eat away. You cannot make money at all working with distributors unless you are selling in super high volumes. So distributors are people who buy your product. I'm the brand, right? The distributor will buy my product and they will sell it to a lot of other stores. Ideally, they'll sell it to them for 50% more. So now you're working with distributors. So now your brand is growing, right? And you pop in, it seems like you're doing everything. So the consumer pays $10. The retailer pays $5. The distributor pays $2.50. So before you were making your product for $2.50, now you got to make your product for like less than $1. You got to figure out how to get your costs down less than $1 so you can make some money, right? Because before you were able to make your product for $5 and sell it for $10 direct to consumer. Are y'all following me here? But when you got into retailers, you had to somehow cut back on something to lower your price, right? So, okay, what's the easiest thing to cut down on price? I mean, what's the easiest thing you can do to cut down on price? It's not to change your packaging because that's so visible, consumers will know, oh, something's different, right? So no, don't change the packaging. This is the mindset or the thought pattern, right? Let's change the ingredients because that's less noticeable. So if we change these ingredients to, instead of using extra virgin olive oil, we'll use refined olive oil, which has no nutrients whatsoever in the product, right? So that's one thing, right? So it's still olive oil, but the nutrients aren't there. So the benefit you were getting from the extra virgin olive oil, you're not getting it anymore because now you're just using plain old refined olive oil. Okay, so before we were using aloe, now let's switch it to water, right? Because aloe is moisturizing, but water is too, but water is free or very, very cheap, right? So it's like that's the little stuff that they do, and they start to lower. Exactly, Deshaun. They start to lower. That's how they lower their price point. So when the brand starts to sell to retailers, okay, now they were selling for $5, but now they can't sell for $5. Now they got to figure out how to sell for $2.50, right? So it's steadily going down, right? They were here, Now they're here. Now they're here. So now they got to figure out how to sell for $2.50. So they reduce something else and they change another ingredient. And instead of shea butter, maybe they just use like mineral oil, right? Which is a super cheap, super terrible ingredient for black hair, right? But again, this is what happens. Then, yes, exactly, Alicia. The customers do notice the difference in the effectiveness of the product. But that's what they do, right? So they do it in hopes that most people won't notice, because a lot of times the psychology of it is that that product was working for you at one time. And so all of a sudden it doesn't work, and consumers tend to think there's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with their hair all of a sudden, or, hey, this was working for me before. Most people don't check ingredients, but y'all in the nation know to check the ingredients because we done talked about this, right? Most people don't. So they don't notice a difference in the ingredient list. They're just still using the same product, and they're thinking like something's wrong with me instead of there's something wrong with this product, right? So this is exactly what happens. I'm telling y'all, right? So anybody else gonna tell y'all all this, but you know I keep it real. I keep it real with y'all. I tell y'all all the good and all the bad and all the ugly and all the great too, right? So this is what happens. So now back to the story. So now you've gotten a distribution deal, and the distributor now wants to buy from you for $2.50, but you were making the product for $2.50. So it's like, oh shoot, I'm not gonna make any money. So what do? Now I gotta figure out how to get that cost down to less than $1 in order to make money, right? And so that's why a lot of times you get a product that's amazing and super good, and suddenly the ingredients seem to be different. Your hair doesn't perform as well. If you haven't shared this live, make sure you share it, okay? That's why all these things happen. It's not you're not crazy. Yes, the products have changed. Yes, they've done something different. And usually it's some sort of ingredient or a set of ingredients that they've changed. And yeah, and that's what happens when those products seem to be different, okay? So back to why black products cost so much. The high quality black products they tend to maintain their ingredient integrity. So when you see like Naturalicious, for example, our price point is not super cheap. You will not find us in a drugstore. You will not find us in like Family Dollar, that sort of stuff, because our ingredients are like, it's very intentional that our ingredients are high quality. Again, in our gel, by the way, if you are unaware of the dope deal for the night, the dope deal is buy 3